that we now depend on. I'd like to see an Africa that is peaceful. You look at it currently, we're struggling with wars, instability, and all sorts of other challenges, economic challenges, for example, which is a big problem.
That was Mr. Anelnglovo, the president of Zim SA Forum.
Tanash Ampasari with the Africa I Want on www.the1873fm.com.
Hello. Здравствуйте. Ciao. Shalom. Bonjour. Sawadee. Konnichiwa.
What's up, world?
Good songs. Day long. It's number one.
Most awesome thing ever.
This is
one of the coolest stations in the world.
I'm working on my dash. I'm working on my dash. I'm working on my dash. Working on my dash. Working on my dash. Working on my dash.
Everything I do, from my first day to my last, that's my dash. That's my dash. That's my dash. That's my dash.
I'm working on my dash. I'm working on my dash. I'm working on my dash. I'm working on my dash.
If you look at the life of a person.
Okay, so at the beginning you were saying a dash is a straight line, correct?
It's a line first.
Not broken.
It's a line first.
First of all, it's a line.
And second, it's a straight line.
It's a straight line, it's not broken.
I've been working on my dash, that's my destiny. Add a dash of talent and a dash of hard work, that's my recipe. R.I.P. to Butch Lewis, the man who told us we should do this. My dash happens to be music, and I'm gonna use it before I lose it. Yeah, we all get a limited time span in this life, man. You need a nice plan. You're not gonna get to do it twice, man. So if you're gonna do it right. And I'm
working on my dash. I'm working on my dash. Working on my dash. I'm working on my dash. I've been working on my dash. I've been
the life is not discontinuous. There's no break. You can't have no life for 2 hours.
Working, gaining mass. I've been working on my dash. I'm working on my dash. Working on my dash. I'm working on my dash. I've been working on my dash. I've been working on my dash.
The hardest radio on this side of the hemisphere. 1873 FM.
Do you realize that, Naledi, we are talking of private companies here?
Definitely.
Imagine you as an individual, you start up your own company, your business. I mean, you've put whatever you've put into it every day, your effort. Then somebody comes and states that, no, just because I'm black, I should have 50%.
No, that's not what it says. It says 50% black people should also be allowed in the same business.
But why should it be forced on you?
It's not forced, Snashe. You must remember that sometimes black people don't get hired because they are black. Remember, most of these things are owned by white people. And white people, unlike us, they take care of their own.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at 1873FM. Hashtag 1873FM.
Your power to inspire new thinking, new outcomes, and new possibilities. Good morning, Chirati Zogumbo. And you say you are here. Good morning, Brian Matakamure. Glad to also know that you are tuned in and following the show. And yes, this is your platform for open, frank, and honest conversations, and as far as shaping and defining the character and personality of the future you want, the future we all want collectively. And as we continue with conversations, particularly on the power of storytelling, joining me this morning on the 1873 FM is Florence Mazani, as well as Jordanna. Good morning, Florence, and good morning, Jordanna. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the 1873 FM.
Morning. How are you?
Well, I'm great, thanks. Yes, finally we get to see Jordanna's face. And yes, we also get to have a conversation with her this morning. So maybe just for the benefit of our listeners who are tuned in, for the benefit of our viewers, Jordanna, if you could just briefly introduce yourself as to who is Jordanna.
My name is Jordanna Kesangana. I'm from Congo DRC. I do the international relationship. I'm a friend of Florence.
Okay, very interesting, Jordanna, that you happen to be from the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and yes, here you are in South Africa. I mean, the conversation is on the power of storytelling, and each individual actually has a story to tell. And what would you say is the power of storytelling? And I mean, if we just to tell us your story of how you came from the Democratic Republic of Congo and now you happen to be here in South Africa. How did that happen, and why South Africa?
Yes, I came here with my family. My husband is the one who was planning to come here. I came with a family. I came because he was the one who was working in South Africa, and we left Congo and we came here to stay here. He's pastor and working at the church.
And how many years have you been in South Africa since you left Congo?
Since I left Congo, I've been to South Africa 5 years now.
5 years now.
Yes.
Okay. So if you were to just to share with our listeners, I mean, of your experience in South Africa and comparing it to your experience in the Democratic Republic of Congo, what is it that you would share with our listeners, with our viewers as well?
Okay. I can say we came here, we see life is nice. In school, the school is more local, more than Congo, and it's not easy to get as a foreigner in this country, but it's fine. We are here. We just make an effort to find a job, to do something, to do business, but it's not easy. It's not easy for foreigners, yes, to get a nice job from like the same way from like people in South Africa, but in Congo, you can do business easily. You can find a job. You can do something, but here is to find something just to have like income is not easy in South Africa, but it's fine. It's a nice country.
Okay, so South Africa is a nice country. It's a beautiful country, but it
Beautiful.
is. But obviously, as an individual, you have faced your fair share of challenges, if I can put it that way.
Yes, yes. I face a lot of challenges here in South
Okay,
Africa.
so
Mm.
your yourself and Florence. I mean, if you're to share your story of how you came to know Florence, or how did you come to know one another?
We came to know one another because I was looking for a place, a place, a place to stay, and a job also, a job to do, and then we meet at the mall. We meet and we start talking each other, and I show her my CVs, and she advised me. She will, if she found something for me, so that we can I will gonna have a job, and that's why we started talking. I will keep on calling her, but still now she didn't find anything. But we keep on talking together, and she also advised me about some business, if I can do some business, some stuff, so that it can help me to have some income. But that's why we know each other also.
So from the advice that you got from Florence in as far as just starting a business, have you managed to actually start a business? And what business are you in?
It's just selling like bags, and some week, some Brazilians week, something like that. We start slowly, slowly. Is getting to move also. It's getting to move slowly, slowly. But she was in for a long time, and when she shared that business with me, and it's going now, it's fine. It's getting fine now. I can have the income at least. It's fine.
Okay, so I mean, something that you mentioned, which I found quite interesting, Jordanna, is that you say that it's not easy for a foreigner to actually be able to access opportunity in South
Mm.
Africa. But when I look
Mm.
at you, Jordanna, I don't see a foreigner. I mean, talk to us in as far as that. Uh, was when I see you, I see a human being. I see Jordana, and I look at Florence. I just also see a human being. I see
Yeah.
I just see a human being. I just see Florence, and someone says, "Ah, Florence is cute and has a great heart." That's amazing.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yes, a good art, but it depends. It depends is something I don't know what we can say, but it depends. Some of have chance to start something. Most of the people they can say no, you can't. We can go somewhere. You can even have an interview, and after that they will call you, but they never call you back up until now. They never call you back so that you can start something. Even they appreciate you as a human being, but they never call you back. But when you go after you find that they already gave another South African that job, is that like that?
Okay, okay, okay. So at least, man, that's interesting what you actually say. So,
Mm.
Florence, someone who happens to be watching this show, who's also following this show, this is President Ryan Victor Caridade. He says that Florence is cute and has a great heart. That's amazing. Then there's two little hearts that he puts at the end. So
Mm.
you've captured someone, eh?
I'm flattered.
So yes, so Florence, I mean, what is it that you have to share with our viewers this morning, with our listeners this morning on the 1873 FM, as we continue on this trajectory of the power of storytelling? If you just to tell your story this morning, in as far as since yesterday's conversations and between this morning, the experiences that you have experienced between then and now.
I remember yesterday I spoke about self love.
Okay, I'm getting some feedback from your end. I mean from your end, but I've muted Yodana's microphone. Maybe Yodana on your end, if you could just mute you can lower the volume. Maybe yeah, then we can be able to hear Florence without any feedback. You can go ahead, Florence. Let's see. You can go ahead.
I was saying that yesterday we spoke about self-love. But today, given the context of the conversation and what has said, I'd really like to talk about the power of entrepreneurship, especially here in Africa. You find that we have a lot of skilled young people. We've got a lot of skilled people who are very educated, but because of the scarcity of jobs, or can I say opportunities, you find that people will be actually struggling to survive. So today, I just want us to touch a bit on the concept of entrepreneurship. To say, for an example, if you have three graduates, or can I say five graduates, who maybe start up companies, right? You can find that they can each employ a minimum of five people. That means that you have actually, through their contribution, right? They have actually created five jobs, five for themselves and 24 for no, actually 30 jobs, five for themselves and 25 jobs for the other people. Maybe they'll actually take to work with them. Maybe as a start, each one of them will need five employees. So I think instead of us going out there looking for jobs, we must sit back and actually see what it is we can do ourselves outside the job market, but still providing a service. Because you find that providence of services is not only limited within the job space, but you can also actually offer services coming from a skill, or coming from something you've learned in school, or something you've picked up along the way. So I would really like us to really sit back and look at what it is we can do individually without actually having to go and work for someone. What is it we can do for ourselves as individuals? Something which can generate an income, something which can actually assist us in maybe creating employment for other people, and something which can also close in the gap somewhere within the market, be it the beauty industry, be it the health sector, be it even in business and commerce. There is something each and every one of us can do. So I think the tasks today, or the big thing we can actually do, even if you're working, look into something you can tap into and make a business out of, so that you can get an income or an extra income.
Okay, so Chiratidzo Gumbo, who's following the show, also says, I want 2 Brazilian wigs, please, Flo. How much in US dollars?
Should I respond on the show, or can we text, or can I give her my contact?
And maybe you can also share with others. Maybe there are some who are also watching, want to know the prices of the Brazilian wigs and the sizes that you've got when it comes to the inches. Then I mean, this is the power of radio, where you get to also, as we are talking about the power of storytelling, the power of sharing, so you can share to a broader audience than rather one-on-one with Chiratizo.
Okay, so I basically sell Brazilian hair and Peruvian hair. Okay, hair extensions of different types or different styles, straight and curly, and it's anything from 8 inches to 34 inches. The grade I currently have is grade 11A, so it's the hair which really looks like real hair, and it doesn't come out easily and easily gets worn out. Um, the 8 inches is okay. Basically, how I price them, I think the easiest way I price them in rand is to say, if it's 8 inch, uh, I sell it at 800 rand for 3 bundles, including a closure. So the inches you want correspond to the price of the hair in rand. And to Chiratizo in US dollars, I have to use an exchange rate of 1 is to 15. because it's on 1 is to 1460 currently when I checked this morning. So I'll use 1 is to 15. I think it's better to work with the absolute
Oh,
values.
so she's roughly looking at $54.
Yes.
$54 if she wants an 8 inch. So it depends with the inches she wants. If she wants something like 30 inches, that's the very long one, which gets up to your just below your waist, close to your yeah. So that one is 3,000 rand. So in US dollars, it will be 200 US dollars.
Yes. Okay. All right. And yes, President Ryan Victor says the major issue we have is the capital and esprit de corps amongst ourselves as young people. What's your take on that? Maybe I can hear from you both. I mean, you were mentioning. I think he's responding to what you mentioned earlier when you were talking about the need for us, for the need for individuals to be able to start on something, identify a challenge, then provide a solution, provide the service, provide goods that people can be able to pay for, and in doing so, also creating job opportunities. So he says that the major issue we have is the capital and esprit de corps amongst ourselves as young people. What's your take on that?
Okay, when it comes to capital, it's an issue for I think most people, including huge corporates. So, okay, I think there are two ways I've used which worked for me, but there are many other ways out there to actually get capital to start something. For an example, I think, irregardless of how big or small the business is, you have to have some form of business plan. That's the first thing you need to have. Okay, you need to identify what it is you want to do, and where in the market whatever that is needed. Then you have a business plan. The good thing about a business plan is either you want to fund yourself or you want to go and outsource for funding. There is a plan on paper, and there's something which makes sense, something comprehensible which exists, which will guide you and also guide the person you want to go and ask for funding from on what it is you want to do, when is it most likely you're going to break even, and how much is it you need. So if you realize that maybe you can't go to a bank and get funding, or you can't get funding from an external source, I think the first thing is to actually work with what you have. For an example, if you realize that the capital you need is something like, for an example, I'll give a small figure, let's say 10,000 rands. I think you need to give yourself a target to say, how can I spread across um, this money, such that maybe I can raise it within maybe 2 months or 3 months or 4 months. Then you look for something small you can start doing. Maybe you can start saving from your salary or your wages, or something. Maybe you can even start off which is small, which necessarily doesn't need capital for you to start. Then you work from there. Another thing is to actually look for an investor, someone who has the money, but who is looking for someone who can service, or who's got a particular skill. Then from that can be a point of departure to say, you come with the money, I bring the skills, let's find a way we can meet in between. I think for me, those are the two ways which have sort of worked for me, though I'm still looking into branching into other avenues.
Okay. One aspect that you also mentioned is esprit de corps, which is teamwork, just individuals coming together for a common purpose, for a shared interest. Maybe I'll throw this one to Jordanna. What's your take, especially on the issue of coming together as individuals to work together for a common interest, for a common purpose? Do you see it, or have you experienced this as a challenge for yourself? If you just to share your story. Hello, Jordanna.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
So one thing that Ryan also mentioned is the issue of teamwork. individuals coming together for a common purpose, for a shared interest. Is it something that you have also experienced as an individual in whatever that you're doing, uh, um, that it is a challenge to come together as to work towards something?
Mm. Yes, is a good challenge for me to come together. When we are together, you share experience, we share knowledge, and it's help a lot for one another. Yes, to start and to boost one another to do the business. Yes, as an individual, I think to come together is also a good idea for me to do certain things. It's very nice, and for me to meet Florence and all the advice helped me a lot.
Okay, so
Mm.
Chiratizo says, thanks a lot, Florence. I'll order. And she says, can I have Flo's number? I know I can do business with her. And Ryan Victor, he says that capital comes in human resources, finance, and economic situation. I totally agree with Florence on a business plan. So that's Ryan. And he goes on further to say, a few years back, I wrote a book, Women in Business, to help women in rural areas to learn how to do business plans and manage their businesses. But most of them were affected by socio-economic situations that affect women. What's your advice for women? So Florence and Jordanna, this one is for you, coming from Ryan Victor. What's your advice for women this morning? What advice would you give women?
Yes, my advice as a woman, I can say you must just stand, you must be strong, and keep the money. You must have the knowledge. You must be humble. Someone can advise you. You must open with open heart and just push and push. Maybe the first time this will not gonna go just straight the way you want, but be patient and keep on moving. And it's a good idea for as a woman and to take care of yourself and to stand as a family and to do a business and for your life and for all your friendship and to be like a leader on that things. And the good advice for me is to go forward toward that things. And I thank God for Florence also sharing with another, and is a good advice I give each all the women. If they can do that, it will help a lot. Thank you so much.
Okay, and Florence, what would be your advice for women this morning?
I think the one thing I would really want to touch on is the issue of the socioeconomic situations most women find themselves in, especially Black women. I think when you look at most Black women, we usually we run at the lower spectra of the socioeconomic pyramid, and that now comes as a huge challenge because you find that you are fighting with fellow Black women for opportunities. You're fighting with male dominant males for opportunities, and also other female counterparts from other races. But I think one thing Black women need to focus on is where they draw their strength from. I think one needs to be organized and one needs to understand themselves first in business to understand what it is they want to do, what it is they want to stand for. And they must not ignore the current status quo that we are at a disadvantage. We do not have as much opportunities as our other counterparts. Also, we can I say fighting for opportunities for. So I think as Black women, especially women in rural areas, I think one thing which will be very beneficiary for them, or a way to actually assist and give a break for them, is actually to work in groups. For an example, to start cooperatives, right? Because you understand that for an individual to rise on their own in a rural setup, it's not it's very difficult. So it's better for them to start cooperatives. Could it be farming cooperatives? Could it be knitting cooperatives? Could it be even poultry or other different business ventures they might want to get into? Now, the power of a cooperative is the power of the of numbers, right? It's when now different people will come with different experiences and they'll share knowledge, right? And they'll also be able to share resources. Then in that cooperative, they will need to have a leader or two leaders who are the ones who are going to actually represent them. Or when it comes to speaking to funders, when it comes to actually project management, leading the project and actually getting people organized. So I think the first point of departure, especially if we need to intervene, assisting women in rural areas per se, is to actually help them start forums and cooperatives. Then they can grow businesses from there. I think the second thing which is needed before you look for human resources or finances to start a business is actually a mentor. Each person needs a mentor, someone who's going to teach them or to show them how to do business, a person who's got the wisdom and the experience in whatever in the business industry. I think each and every person needs a mentor. So before you look for the capital, before you look for human resources or some form of intellectual property, I think you need a mentor, someone who's going to guide you each step of the way, and someone who does not definitely have any ulterior motives or hidden agendas when it comes to your talent, your skill, or whatever it is you think you can offer.
Well, it's so interesting that you mentioned the issue of cooperatives. That when individuals come together, there is an aspect of numbers, and you can leverage on each other's skills and expertise, and that numbers in themselves, it gives numbers. The more the more number, the more numbers, the more that means you can be able to benefit from economies of scale when it comes to buying power is concerned. And you raised an issue of a mentorship, that mentorship is indeed something that is really fundamental in order to bridge the gap when it comes to experience in areas where you ordinarily are not experienced. So that being said, Jordanna, it brings me to just to share with you how, as a member of the 1873 network, I've also benefited, or rather, how I've also managed to access opportunities in life, is that by being connected to individuals who happen to be experienced in other fields, who happen to be to have expertise that I do not have. It has enabled me to actually learn from them, and from learning from them, in applying it also in my day-to-day work, it has enabled me to bridge to access opportunities that ordinarily I would not have. So this also inspired an initiative called Banking on Africa's Future 10,000 Points of Light, and through this initiative, community of individuals, community bank of individuals, where personal experiences are shared, where insights are shared, where ideas are exchanged. I've also come to learn that there is power when we get to just share our experiences, when we get to also just exchange ideas with others. Because many times you might think that you have an idea, but as long as you keep it to yourself and not share with others, then that idea can never be actually executed. But the moment you share what you know with others and combine with what others also know, it results in something, in an output at the end of the day. So that being said, in as far as this community, the Banking on Africa's Future 10,000 Points of Light, Florence has nominated you to this community of ours, and your Banking on Africa's Future identity, which is both identity is BOAF 625. That's your BOF identity number. Actually, sorry, 629. Yeah. So Jordanna, your BOF ID number is BOAF 629.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
on that note, Chiratizo says that good advice. I can say I'm interested. I'm in Europe though.
Oh.
That's Chiratizo there. So I've also shared Florence. I've also shared your number with Chiratizo so that she can be able to get in touch with you.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Tinashe.
very much.
Well, thanks to you, Florence, and thanks to you, Jordanna, for joining us this morning on the 1873 FM and just sharing your stories of what you are actually doing, and more importantly, to just tell what it is that you are doing to make a difference wherever you are. And yes, good morning to you, Sir Den. Say, use it, equip yourself, equip others, and be equipped by others. That's Sir Den, as he just shares his comments this morning on the 1873 FM. So, Florence and Jordanna, you have yourself a lovely day further.
Thank you, Tinashe. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye for now. So yes, to the viewers, to the listeners, we go on a short break. Keep it locked on your channel of choice, the 1873 FM, your voice, your power, your voice on issues that matter, your power to inspire new thinking, new outcomes, and new possibilities.
Recognize core brains like BMW, who look at the bottom line, who look far beyond what you could imagine. These are corporate citizens and the actors rarely get saluted for going far beyond what is expected. They often excel in volunteering their time and money to charity without recognition. That is why we would like to celebrate BMW. Drive with me, drive with me, drive with me in my BMW. Just drive with me, drive with me, drive with me in my ultimate machine. BMW, 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 the ultimate machine. BMW, 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 the ultimate machine. We are acutely conscious of the fact that business has a large and lasting effect on the world it exists in. That is why we celebrate the role of BMW in constructively intervening to counteract the effects and the business and its functions may have on the environment, may have on the community. That is why